Hello, folks, and welcome to Got Your Back. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Man, it was a tough day on the Edmonton sports scene. Two gentlemen that had a profound impact on the sports community in this market, on the sports fan in this market, certainly on the other sports reporters in this market, on so many of you at home, not to mention the family and friends. John Short, 86 years old, survived by his wife, his children, Aaron and Michael, Marta, his wife, and Robin Brownlee, 65 years old, sons Sam and Michael, and Anna Lynn. Our thoughts are with you so much on a day like today. And tonight we're going to start the podcast with a bit of discussion about our colleagues, and there's nobody better in town to have this discussion than our good friend Jason Gregor, as we say good evening to him. Struddy here as well. We'll get to Rob Brown in a few minutes, and we will get to our podcast and breaking down a win for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. But guys, we need to take a few minutes and pay tribute to these guys because in their own way, they were both giants, such different temperaments. You know, they did different jobs, but they did it well and with a lot of dignity. Greggs, you were close with both of them. Man, hard day today. Let's pay tribute to both of them and maybe start with John Short, Greggs, because I know he had a profound impact on you and your career, pal.
Oh, yeah. Shorty was a guy, he was an absolute beauty. I was so happy that we had a good hour chat just before Christmas. And so it's always nice, we'd catch up every few months. He had a massive impact in my career. I really started from listening as a kid, like, many of you guys and many people in the Edmonton area. You know what? I remember so many nights driving home from hockey with my brother and my dad, or, me and my dad. And, we were always listening to sports talk. It was on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, John Shore was a legend in my mind. And it wasn't just after hockey. I had the old alarm clock, man, and it would be in my bedroom. And, good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. And you go down to your room and, you pull the blankets over and you got the alarm clock under the blanket and you just listen to John. And was riveted by what he said. I learned so much about sports. I was passionate about it. And he was it was great. And, I remember calling in on kids night the first time and, running upstairs. Dad, did you hear it? So it's a lot of real good memories with John from then. And then I got to meet him and I ended up working for him. And, he hired me when I was in school, and it was a joy to work with John. I learned a lot. He had the perfect personality for me. We meshed. I don't like to be micromanaged, and he didn't like to micromanage. So it was awesome. And we had a lot of laughs. I learned a lot from him. And, we became friends really and colleagues. Like he gave me every opportunity. He just said, whatever you want to do, you try. And he was, never said no to anything. And he was, I got to know Marta and, and Michael, of course, he worked with us when he did his Let's Go Outdoors show. And so, you know what, it was for me, I talked to Marta today, and it was obviously, a shock. John had, he had leukemia. He'd been battling that and the treatments, it just wasn't working anymore. So, and I talked to John, and he was okay with it. He's like, hey, I'm 86. And he thought he had, quite a few more months. And unfortunately, he just got pneumonia here and, went into the hospital on Saturday. And, when you're 86
Mm-hmm.
and pneumonia sucks. And so, it was quick in that sense, but, Marta got to say goodbye and was with him. And I think that's very important and special for both of them. So, my heart aches for them. And I had a really good chat with Marta yesterday and today. And, John, I think I owe my whole career to John, and he always had a real special place in my heart, and it was always great to talk to him.
Yeah, he was amazing. I think, growing up, just like you, Greggs, I listened to him. There was two people, Rod Phillips and John Short, that made me love the sport of hockey. The way that Rod would paint the picture with his voice, and then John would explain it, and I would hear those guys' voices, and they were the only two. This is before we could hear every single game and every single league. These were the people that painted it for us. And then later on, after I was working with you, and then I got my own show at night, somewhat similar to what John Short had, right? The late night show. And I took a lot of pride in thinking I wasn't even close to good as him, but I was thinking I was doing the same job he did. And I took it very seriously, the honor of kind of painting, telling people what I saw or explaining the game to people that are listening like he did many years before. So John was, I only got to meet him a couple times after I was playing, and it was kind of a thrill. It's like seeing Paul L'Oreal, right? These are the voices of your youth. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember saying it's John Short. And I was like, oh my, you're kind of looking around like, how do you talk to him? But he was a great guy and very welcoming. But just, this leaves such a great track record in this community for sports talk that's been carried on by, guys like yourselves and others on different platforms, but it's still the same idea.
Yeah.
Explaining what is going on in the sports world. And it's a great legacy.
He was brilliant at it. Guys, I'm sitting in this chair because of John Short. Like, I grew up, like so many people that I've talked to today and people on Twitter. I mean, we all listen to him, right? Oh, everybody has that story. He's on the clock radio. You're trying to stay awake, but falling asleep. So I'm going to play a piece of audio here. When my mom showed this to me a few years ago, I thought, I hope Gregor never gets a hold of this. I hope Dustin Nielsen never gets a hold of this. I never want this to see the light of day. But I thought today it was fitting to bring out this piece of audio. When I say that I'm sitting here because of John Short and him being my inspiration, it's 100% true. Here is me mimicking a sports talk radio show at a real young age.
Andre the Giant and Hercules Hernandez. Well, folks, that's the news at the sports and the weather for today. Till then, see you tomorrow. Until then, I'm Ryan Rishaug. And Robbie Rishaug. Signing off.
It's out there now, boys. Do your worst with it. But I listened to John Short every night.
Your nuts hadn't even dropped in that one yet. No. That's fantastic.
I was thinking the same thing.
I know. I wanted to be him. Right? And so many of us. Such a nice man that I had the opportunity to meet him. It was such a huge thrill for me when I got the job at CTV and had a chance to meet him. He was so nice and so kind and had time for young broadcasters. It was an absolute thrill. So, absolute legend. The
big thing for me, guys, was so I started working with John when I was in Nate. And I was just going to be the on-site producer part-time on home games for the Oilers because I did the show at Northlands. And then Rob Kerr would go to the games. And then, so that was great. That was kind of a thrill. The interview was just sports questions. It was like the easiest interview of my life. And in March, because I started in late January, in March, Rob got really sick and he was off for a month. And so I had to fill in every day, which was great. It turned out it was like the best thing that happened for me. And I know third or fourth night, a few guests didn't show up and John puts me on the air and he's just like, hey, man, you're really good. We'll do this every night now. And I remember leaving. It was 9 to midnight. And of course, my father had passed away a year earlier. And so I'm pretty hyped up. I'm like, man, I was just on the radio with John Short. Like, he was asking me questions. Like, what the hell's going on here? And I'm driving home, and I still remember to cross the old Capilano Bridge. And I got to the other side, and it just kind of hit me like, damn, wish my dad was here to listen to that. And all of a sudden, the waterworks had to pull over on the side of the road. And John, him and I had conversations about my dad. He knew I lost my dad. And so I would, I don't want to lie. And it wasn't a father figure for John, but if I ever needed advice on stuff, he was kind of the guy that I would go to. And gave me a lot of good advice. Like, he told me some great stories. Like John used to drink quite a bit, and he quit drinking like cold turkey in 1987 because he had a few drinks on air. And they pulled him off the air and he thought he lost his job. And they said, no, man, like we kind of built have a drink with John Short thing. So he quit cold turkey. And he always told me, he says, hey, you know what, go have fun, have lots of fun, but just remember, don't get too close. And it was always one, I think the most, other than the time that we drank on purpose to prove a point on the air, it's something I've always been cognizant of. So he didn't have, like a lot of good fatherly advice. He wouldn't lecture you, but he would say something that make you go, all right, I'll listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Robin Brownlee, the news came not so long after, and buddy, that one's different, right? Robin, 65 years of age. He's got the young family. Greg's, you worked with Robin a ton, and he was a huge presence on your platforms after he was done at the Sun. That one hit me like a ton of bricks today, and I'm sure it did you as well. That's a huge loss and way too young.
Yeah, that one was John was hard, but yeah, Robin's was because it was just shock, really big time for me. Annalyn called me in the morning, and it was always a pretty emotional phone call. And when we hung up, I was pretty floored, to be honest. Like I knew Robin he was going in, he had a tumor in his ear, and it was close to where his brain was. So there was some concern because it was impacting his balance, and he was worried about it, but he was also excited because he was sick and not, having great balance. And I was just looking forward to kind of being more active again. You know, Sam, his youngest, is 17, and Michael's in his early 20s. And you guys knew Robin, and like I knew Robin before he had kids, and like becoming a father was like the greatest joy of his life. Like the greatest joy. His priorities changed when he became a dad, and you know, even really a husband, and it was family first. And I'm not even, you know, people say that, but
everything changed about him, Greg,
yes,
when he became a dad.
Yeah, he softened up. Like, and Robin was, you know, he was a pretty gruff guy, but as you got to know him, you understood why. He had a really tough childhood. His dad had kind of abandoned their family, and that, you know, that bothered him for a long time. And we had some, you know, real heartfelt conversations about it. And the thing about Rubes that I'll miss the most was like his laugh was pretty funny. He had a good sense of humor. Like he liked to give it. He's like Struds, you know, he'd like to give it. He'll take it. And he would laugh at himself. And, you know, like Ruben Bronte is one of my favorite nicknames. I love him, call him Bronte. And so many people around town call him Bronte just because somebody screwed up his name in Toronto on his accreditation. Instead of saying Robin Brownlee, it was Ruben Bronte. Like it's not even close. So that's what makes it so awesome. And, but Rubes would never text me, but he would always leave me notes on direct messages on Twitter. And I'm like, dude, I'm not on Twitter all the time. Like none of them were ever like time sensitive, but he would leave like little, hey man, happy Father's Day was a big one for me. I always wish me happy Father's Day. And, you know, but if he heard something on a show or something I'd read that he liked, he would always comment on, just say, hey, I really like that or this or that. And it was always really nice notes that you didn't get from a lot of people, to be honest, and not saying you needed that, but that was just his thing. And it was funny today when I wrote about that today. I had Craig Simpson and so many other people sending me screen captures of DMs that Robin had sent them. And, you know, that's just, and they laughed. He's like, yeah, he would never text you, but he would DM you. And you know, like Rob became a very emotional man. You know, he wasn't afraid to show his boys that he loved them. And I think, you know, too often society nowadays, you know, like Rob was that big, and he was a huge man. Like Robin was a big dude, not just his head, like everything about him. He was thick. But he got very comfortable showing emotion. And I think, you know, that's something that I really respected about Robin. And, you know, he would stand his ground on things, but he had a real soft, gentle side to him, despite the big gruff look and the goatee and everything. And you know what, man, my heart goes out to Sam, who's, you know, he's graduating high school in 6 months, and you know, and young Michael, and, you know, they had a real good, tight connection, and so did Annalyn. And so that one was really sad to me today, because I know Robin is the man much more than I do Robin as the broadcaster and writer.
Yeah, a little bit different. My relationship is a little different with him. I actually knew more as a broadcaster when I was playing, and I always enjoyed our interactions. I always thought he was his questions, his approach, and I'd read his articles. They were always really, I thought they were fair. Whether I liked it or not, they were fair. My first personal interaction was one day, Greg's, I came in to work with you at TSN, and he had been there previously, and I went to put his headset on, and honestly, it could have wrapped around my waist. It was the biggest, it was so stretched out. I'm like, who wore this? A buffalo? And that was like my first thing. So we talked about it online, and then guess who got a note? I think it might've been on Twitter. He sent me a note. It was like, hey man, like, don't make fun of my head. I'm like, buddy, I couldn't believe it. But you know, that kind of started our relationship. And you know, I put it on Twitter today. This guy was a stickler for grammar, and that is not exactly my strong suit. So I would say something on air, or I'd write something down or tweet something. This guy'd be on me right away. And he'd tell me like, it's not whom or who or there or them or then. I was like, God, I was losing it. So finally one day I caught him. He wrote an article where he put Yamamoto should be the best left winger on this team. I was seconds. I tweeted at him like, he's a right winger. Get your quality, get your facts right. And after that, he never bothered me again.
Oh, that's amazing. You know, he did the same thing to me, Struds. My first 2 weeks on the job, I was the new guy in town. I'm like the brand new guy in town. I did a story on the Oilers, something about a previous first round, and I made a mistake in the story. I had talked about Ryan Smith being their first round pick from 1994. And I come walking into practice, and I'm young and cocky, and I go walking into the stands to sit down, and I hear from behind me, hey, hot shot, Jason Bonsignor. And I was like, I turned around, I said, what? And he's like, your story last night, you talked about Ryan Smith being the Oilers' first rounder from 94. Bonsignor went fourth. And he says it loud enough to me that everybody else could hear. Total, just put me right in my place. I was like, All right, fair enough. Like Ruben was that guy. He'd keep everybody around him honest. He wasn't afraid to fire shots. It was a gruff exterior, but the man had a big heart. The man loved his family, and that was definitely a tough one today. Greg's, I do have to say, my friend, you did an exceptional job today. You had hours and hours of programming to do on the fly. I can only imagine the lump you had in your throat. The tribute that you managed to pull off in real time on John Short and on Robin Brownlee. I heard you had John's son on the show. I know how hard that was for you today. You did a wonderful job. Thanks for joining us tonight. And always notable that when his time came to an end at the Edmonton Sun, you totally had Robin Brownlee's back. He became a big part of Oilers Nation. You continued to use him on your show. You continued to give him a voice. So thank you for that, and great job today, my friend.
Well, hey guys, thanks for giving me the opportunity here today, and thanks for the kind words. I really appreciate it.
Come back and let's talk some Oilers soon with you. Okay, we'll get together like old times.
Yeah, well, hey, they might never lose, so hey,
no,
a lot to talk about.
It's crazy. Yeah. Gregor, thank you very much.
Buddy.
We're going to start our podcast now, folks. Rob Brown is standing by, but once again, John Short, 86 years of age, Robin Brownlee, 65. They will take with them the love of their family and their friends, the respect of their colleagues, and they will leave behind well-documented careers and memories, a lifetime of doing something that, well, we can only assume they absolutely loved. Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Kinprint. For all your company's promotional needs, they do it all. Apparel, promotional products using the highest quality brands. They do logo design, signage, and printing. Kinprint will promote your brand with excellence. Visit kinprint.ca. All right, folks, welcome to Got Your Back, brought to you by our proud title sponsor, Sherwood Buick GMC. Come on in, check out their massive, beautiful showroom, the #1 GMC dealership in all of Canada, 5 years running, volume-wise. And it's easy to see why. They take care of their customers, they make the experience easy, and they've got lots of stock. So go see Phil and the amazing crew at Sherwood Buick GMC. Check them out online as well. Coming to you from our Long Shot studio here in Sherwood Park. Long Shots available for corporate events. They are so much more than just golf. As we welcome in Rob Brown, who's finished up his post-game show on 6:30 Ched with Reed Wilkins. Wonderful conversation there with Jason Gregor, remembering John Short and Robin Brownlee. Brownie, you've been around town a long time. I know you knew both these gentlemen as well. Do you have a thought or two about Robin Brownlee and John Short?
Well, I've known Robin Brownlee for 40 years. He was the beat writer for the Kamloops Blazers when I went to Kamloops. So
that's right.
I've known him since when I was a 15-year-old kid in Kamloops, and got to reacquaint myself to him when he moved to Edmonton and started working here. John Short, I obviously know from just playing in the league and coming through Edmonton. I got a quick story about him. When we played here one night against the Oilers, I was with Pittsburgh. We actually stayed overnight, didn't leave till the next day. So I'd gone home to my mom's house here in St. Albert, and I was one of the stars that night. And when we got to the house, just like you guys were talking, radio's on, John Short post-game show. And in the post-game, John Short said something that it must have been Rob Brown's parents that picked the stars. He wasn't as good as other players. And he's going on and on about this. And to me, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. But my sister was there. And we're sitting in the kitchen listening to this, and all of a sudden I'm looking around. I can't find my sister. I'm like, where'd Krista go? So I can hear her in the background. So I run into the bedroom. She's on the phone. She called the John Short show. And she said, "This is Rob Brown's sister. I want to talk to John Short." And I grabbed the phone from her. "You're not talking to John Short." Just as I grab it, "Hi, this is John Short. Is this Rob Brown's sister?" I'm like, "Well, actually, John, this is Rob Brown now." And I said,
no.
What's going on?" I said, "Well, John, I got to be honest. My family's not happy about what you said on the radio about me tonight." "Oh, Brownie, we go back." Yeah. So went on. We had a conversation, and then over the years, I got to know him more and more. And eventually, he had a golf tournament for years, and I would volunteer every year at his golf tournament. I would play one of the holes, and people would come through. But I always was out there, and I remember when he was at Northlands, when he was at the racetrack, he would do his show from the racetrack. But I always went out there. But the first time I ever really talked to him was on his show as my sister was about to call and yell at him.
Unreal. Wow. That's having your back big time, hey? Like,
My sister always had my back 100%.
oh, man. Yeah, tough day. But in honor of both of those guys, because they would have both loved to talk about this game, that was a heck of a hockey game. The Oilers pick up, matching a franchise best with their 9th straight victory. So, gentlemen, let's get to breaking it down. Brought to you by Mr. Dirk, the iconic men's clothing store founded in 1939. Wonder if John Short ever shopped there. Probably did at some point. Would have stopped by Mr. Dirk. You got everything you need for every aspect of your wardrobe. They're a one-stop shop for all your clothing needs. Visit MrDirk.com. Boy, they almost got goalied. Hey, Struds? Like, almost. That guy came to play.
Yeah, you played a good game. There's no doubt about it. But the Oilers didn't get rattled.
You don't seem as impressed as me. You downplayed that a little.
Who about their goalie?
Yeah, you're like, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not. I think that. Yeah.
Did you sense that, Brownie? Well. I sensed that.
I sensed it too. I thought the goalie was excellent in this game. I thought the only reason this game was even exciting or entertaining late in the game was because of Alex Lyon. But I mean, Struds. I mean, I can't wait.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say is that even though Pickard didn't have a ton of shots against, he made the save of the game to keep it tight. And I think that we have to recognize on Fabry's goal, he reached across with his blocker, gets just the slightest bit of it, and it doesn't go in. That would have been a game changer. So, I think that, I get it. Yeah, he played well. But I thought Pickard made the save of the game at the crucial moment. And I think we've heard from some people on this panel about the Oilers goaltender needing to make a save that changes the complexion of the game. And we get that. And you two are singing the praises about someone that will probably be in Russia next year or in Europe. And instead of recognizing the play of Calvin Pickard.
Actually, I think Alex Lyon will be with the Detroit Red Wings next year. He's been very good. He just won 3 straight in California. Now he's come home, stood on his head tonight. The only reason this was a game was because of Alex Lyon. Pickard was good. And that save on Fabry, fantastic. And it was a subtle save. Because, I mean, I was waiting for the horn to go. I thought the puck went in.
Same.
And I was like, okay, the horn's going to come. It's going to come. I'm like, seriously? That never went in the net? Pickard was good. A quality start. I mean, think about it. He's 4-2 with a goals against average under 3. I think his save percentage is still over 900. And he's a third string goalie. He's their minor league goaltender. Right. He has been fantastic. He's given them quality start after quality start. And again, I agree that if that goes in, it's 2-0. And I thought on a very ill-advised coach's challenge. But if that goes in, it's 2-0. I think the Edmonton Oilers are a little hard pressed coming back in this game the way Lyon was playing.
Okay. Press pause here. Okay. So the coach's challenge, let's get to that. We could beat around the goaltending thing. I agree with what you're saying, though. Like on a night where Lyon clearly showed up to play, Struddy, at the other end, Calvin Pickard was watching that guy going, oh, this guy is a gamer tonight. And I thought he did a good job with way less shots, elevating, matching, and I thought he was really good tonight. So Struds, I was going to give him his credit too, but I thought Lyon was a massive, massive story tonight. Fair? Can we agree? Can we move on? You good with that?
I took the words out of your guys' mouth. I'm sorry for that. Sorry, because I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it before. I heard us talking about the Red Wings. But let's just move on.
We'll just move on.
Bogged down.
I came in with energy. I'm like, they almost got goaled, Struds. Whoa, hey, buddy. And you're like, yeah, it was fine. Okay, the challenge. Listen, can you criticize him for not challenging one night?
Yep.
And then criticizing him for challenging the next? The lack of aggression that he showed last time, what I said was, what's the point of having a baller penalty kill if you can't make some challenges that might be 50-50? So tonight, clearly contact was made with the glove. And outside you can argue where he was in the crease. I was okay with the challenge. When your penalty kill is that good, Brownie, you're okay to make some challenges like that.
No, I think they should have challenged the other night. I 100%. But tonight, that was obvious. I mean, that was obvious that it was going to be a goal. He was outside the crease. It took the referees 10 seconds. So to me, it was, if they get scored on their end, very, very close to getting scored on, that would have been the end of the game. So to me, there was zero chance that one was going to be turned over. So I thought it was a risky challenge at best. So no, I wouldn't have challenged that one because it was obvious it was going to be a goal.
It was interesting to hear Chris Knobloch talk post game and say that
Yeah,
we went over
yes.
a bunch of stuff. We went over a bunch of goals, reviewable goals yesterday. And we kind of thought we saw one that was like that. I remembered that one. So that's why I challenged it. And our penalty killing is good. So kind of what you said there, Schauger. So I don't know. I honestly don't really know what goalie interference is anymore. So I had a sense it was going to be a goal, but if you want to roll the dice, I mean, it doesn't seem like a risky guy, but he makes the call and goes for it. So I thought it'd be a goal though.
Yeah, I was okay with him challenging. I was sitting there watching it going, there's no way he's not challenging this. After letting that one go the other day, he's challenging this and it might be 2-0 as a result of this. I was fine with the fact that he went ahead and did it though. And because I think, like I said before, he's got a penalty kill that he can rely on and trust. And yeah. I was okay with it. So we'll agree to disagree. And that makes for half decent podcasting. 47 shots, the Oilers pepper at them. And Zach Hyman continues to rock and roll here, but to that McDavid dangle and deke, Brownie, like that was fantastic. This team had to stick with it, man, because that had to be frustrating. That goalie was on everything.
Well, and the Oilers should be used to it because there's been a number of games this year where they dominated the shot clock, yet they look up and they're either tied or behind. The best part about the McDavid goal wasn't the move in front of the net, which was incredible. The hands were amazing, and the goaltender line had no chance. It was the play made at the blue line. I don't know who was coming out of the zone. I don't think it was Hyman, but someone was coming out of the zone. And Connor McDavid came over. He knew that the puck was in first. He lifted his stick to make sure that the player came out before he touched the puck so that it wouldn't be offside. And everyone in Edmonton remembers the Cale Makar goal. Everyone in Edmonton saw the other night with Leon Draisaitl on the offside. So Connor McDavid, while going 1,000 miles an hour, still in his mind knew, okay, don't touch the puck, don't touch the puck. He's over now. And then he went in. And it's funny because all the Red Wings thought he was offside. The one Red Wing defenseman he went by actually had his hand in the air. The 2 or 3 other guys quit skating, but Connor didn't. And then he made the goaltender look silly. So it's almost unfair that a guy can go that fast and his hands can move that fast back and forth. And his mind is going slow. So he's watching himself do it in slow motion. Absolutely no chance for Alex Lyon on that one.
Yeah, 2 things, guys. Number 1, I can't stand it when players lift their hands in the air. That's not your job. Keep your hands on the ground. Let the refs and linesmen do that. Number 2, I'm not surprised that 2 offensively minded players like yourselves are only thinking about the offense and what happened to the goal. The last 9 games, the Oilers have given up 16 goals. That is unbelievable defensive hockey. I'm so happy to see that. It was 0-0 after two periods, and they didn't go. In the past, we would have seen this team go for it. Got to start taking risks. Got to make things happen, guys. They haven't done that. And they're really limiting chances. Like, how many really good chances did Detroit have tonight? Even think back against the Senators or the last 9 games, bottle it all up together, and there's not very many chances. So what Knobloch has done is he got these guys to believe in how to play better defensive hockey, better structured in their own zone, making it harder for other teams to get in there. And they're being patient, and it's working. So listen, I get it. We want to talk. Yeah, no, let's talk about McDavid again.
Next time you ask me the question, you're gonna have to say, so Brownie, the incredible goal that Connor McDavid scored that's going to be on every highlight reel tonight.
Yeah.
Instead of talking about that, let's talk about the lack of chances Detroit had. That's more fun because that's
is it
sexy.
Just me, Brownie? Is it just me, or is Struddy channeling his inner Robin Brownlee a little and coming in hot at his coworkers?
Old grumpy pants over there.
I am not. But you guys always want to talk about this. Like, let's talk about that's the low hanging fruit. Everyone saw McDavid's goal.
Had I wrapped up the segment and been like, we're done now, and you'd be like, whoa. But it's like the second topic. You disagreed with the first one, and then you derailed the second one.
It's okay. That is fair. I am coming in hot today.
Fair. You're coming in hot.
Agenda. I have an agenda tonight I want to get across to you too.
Okay, so let's talk about. Did you see tonight? Desharnais went off the glass and out. It was a Strudwick special. I think we got to go on and on about it.
I buried the lead. That's where I should have started. I should have started there. Struddy, lots going on tonight, but boy, that Vinny Desharnais. That's the headline.
So you two guys are now being unreasonable. I'm gonna have to just do this by myself, obviously, tonight.
Make your point.
And that's fine.
Go.
There are some nights. Get on board, guys. I've carried you guys for most of the pods this year, anyways. So, but what my point is this: is that we are now seeing a team that is what we've been wanting at the end of last year. I was saying this team has to learn how to feel comfortable in low-scoring games, and they've done it. They've done what I've asked them to do. Now, I don't know if it was what I said or if it was their new coaching staff, but they're doing it, and they're doing it the right way, because we know they'll be able to score. But Brownie, more importantly than that, is they're doing it and they're winning the right way. And that's
they are
just
doing what I asked them to do. I can see between periods. Connor, hey, Leon, guys, Struddy said we got to play better defensively. Let's not get stressed out, because I watched Struddy on a podcast, and he said, if we start playing better in low-scoring games, you know what? I know that you want to go end-to-end, Connor. Don't do it. Off the glass and out. Off the glass and out. We'll get our break. Exactly what they're talking about.
No, mine isn't unskilled hockey. Mine is smart, thoughtful hockey. And that is what I preach. And I've been saying that. I've been saying that since, well, let's go get the tapes. Get the VCR out. We'll hear about what I said last year. And this is finally come. So my work's done here. What do I have to do now? Fix the hand base?
You're the one that said the Oilers were going to go 9-5. They got to lose the next 5 games.
We're not out of the woods yet.
They are so far out of the freaking woods, buddy. Sherry Frazzy on the stream says Struds is absolutely fired up, and he is right about the defensive game. However, McDavid is absolutely bananas, as always. Guys, I do have to acknowledge we're currently hitting a new milestone here on the live stream. We have never had the number of people on the live stream that we have here tonight with us. So we just want to take a minute and say thank you for joining us live. That's a fantastic number. We're over 400, and that's great. I think I'm supposed to ask everybody to hit the like button all at once, but I'm not going to put you to work. If you want to, I guess that helps our algorithm, which I think helps us out overall on the podcast. But thanks for joining us. And we got tons still ahead on the podcast. We're not done breaking this down yet.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
for all the listeners, you're welcome. I'm bringing it tonight in honor of you guys. I'm not sure what the other two guys are doing, but I got you. I've got your back tonight. All the listeners, you're welcome.
That's what everybody wants on a team with McDavid and Draisaitl. Struddy bringing the defensive conscience in his analysis on a night where McDavid goes nuclear with a goal like that.
To win. That's all I'm going to say. You're welcome. 9 in a row. How can I be this right? What else am I right about? I got to check my diary.
You said they were going to go 9-5.
I was on a roll that night.
You were on a roll that night. You're having a night that night too. Why is it when the three of us get together that this happens to you, Struddy? It's dynamic.
No, it is 2-on-1, but that's fine. You guys, I've got it. I've got you. You're welcome, listeners. You're welcome.
How about a little bit of love here for Darnell Nurse and the overtime winner? The guy's good in overtime. I mean, he just shot the puck into an open net, but big goal for him. And once again, Zach Hyman, just doing Zach Hyman things, driving the net. Brownie, the guy is just on fire in an insane way right now, unlike Struds.
Well, all 3 players on the ice there made great plays. Hyman took the puck to the net. A lot of guys, if you see in overtime, they're getting pushed to the outside. They'll go behind the net, go on the perimeter, and wait for a better opportunity. Hyman took the puck to the net. Nugent Hopkins stayed in front. The fact that he stayed there and kind of pestered, I believe it was Raymond, forced Raymond to turn the puck over. And then Nurse comes in, and that wasn't an open net. He went up and over top of the goaltender. That was a great shot. Nurse is playing the best hockey of his career. He has been fantastic since Paul Coffey helped out on the defense. This team, as Struddy says, is playing better defensively. They're not giving up the odd man breaks, yet it's not taking away from their offense. They're creating. They're pushing the pace. They're pressuring. And they're putting the opposition under an incredible amount of stress, game in, game out, and eventually it will wear the other team down. Sometimes it takes to the 60th minute or into the 63rd minute to win hockey games, but it's a combination of great offensive players playing a very smart defensive game, as Struddy said. But Darnell Nurse, Struds, and we've been watching him for a number of years, and he always there's things that he always brings. He always brings a physicality. He always brings a toughness. He'll block shots. He'll do whatever it takes. I think he's playing smarter now. And when he starts playing smarter as he has been lately, he becomes that much more effective. He has been outstanding in the last 20, 25 games.
It's amazing what happens when I raise my game. Brownie finds a way to raise his level as well. And that's an incredible comment. I have nothing more to say. You nailed it about Zach Hyman and Darnell Nurse. Well done.
And you're taking credit. You're taking credit for Brownie's good thoughts because he's trying to match this incredible bar that you're setting.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
All right, let's get to our relentless player of the game, brought to you by UCAN Youth Services. It's an Edmonton charity, relentless in helping youth age 16 to 24 get out of harm's way and get back into the workforce. They've got a great program that they put them through, get them back on their feet and out into the workforce. Visit ucan.ca to see how your donation could change lives right here in our community. Got Your Back is a monthly donor, and we highly encourage you to do the same. Struddy, you're on fire tonight, so you get the tap. Who is the relentless player of the night?
Well, I think we do have to recognize the contributions of a certain netminder for Detroit Red Wings.
You're not. You're not going to give it to him after you threw a big bucket of cold water on the segment. You donkey. You're going to do it too, aren't you? All right, go ahead. Such a clown.
I knew that fired you guys up. I'm playing you guys right now like a puppet master.
Oh, yeah.
Call me Geppetto.
Making yourself look great in the process.
I will give it to Alex Lyon. I think he played really well. He did play well tonight. I'm not going to anoint him, Vezina winner like some people on the panel tonight.
Yeah, he was good, man. I love like he had the pads going early on in that game. The Oilers they showed up to play tonight. Like they were rocking and rolling. How about Draisaitl tonight, Brownie? He had a little extra something in his step. I noticed tonight, a few times blasting up ice, wanting the puck, some aggressive back checks. That behind the back pass to Fogle was ridiculous.
Oh, one time the puck for, and one time the puck. If he one times it, that's in the net.
I know, and instead it goes in at the other end, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So, Draisaitl, I mean, the point production wasn't there, but Draisaitl did bring it, and they need that. They've got two incredible lines right now, and they got the bottom six trying to figure themselves out, but Leon was on his game tonight.
Brown, do you think Kane finishes that pass from Leon? Does he have that shot in the box?
Yeah. Kane's he's a more of a goal scorer. He's a proven goal scorer. And it's a great shot. And that's on the offside where I'd have Kane playing on his offside, and he would have put the puck in the net. So,
so smart.
But yes, I do believe Kane, a guy that is a proven goal scorer, knows you don't stop the puck in that situation. And Leon put it in the perfect spot.
Sweet.
I mean, that was an incredible pass. Incredible pass.
All right. Great breakdown, guys. Fantastic job. Lots more to come on the podcast, guys. Oiler Nation wants the conversation, so we're going to have it. 2 conversations after the break about 2 topics that are pretty hot right now. 1, Leon Draisaitl's comments about his contract in Mark Spector's article. 2, Corey Perry and the potential that the Edmonton Oilers are potentially looking into that. We all heard Stoff during the broadcast tonight say what he had to say. So those 2 topics are coming up in takeaways coming up right after the break. And a quick reminder, Rob Brown's appearance on the podcast is brought to you by Kin Print, a local family-owned company with decades of experience filling any and all of your promotional apparel and embroidery needs. Visit kinprint.ca. So we got the apparel in the works. We got the prototype hats being built. Not sure if you saw the tweet today, but we put out a few different options. Zuby, can you grab that we'll do that right at the end of takeaways. We'll show people what the options are because people on the stream have been asking us constantly about the apparel. So we'll show you some options and chat about them, and lots coming up in takeaways. Say goodbye to unruly hair and hello to a smooth and silky back in minutes with Backscape. Shave your back solo with no mess with Backscape's water-resistant long handle and patented 6-blade design, leaving you with a no-mess shaving experience all in less than 5 minutes. Shop now for 40% off select kits just for you, our Got Your Back listeners, and make 2024 your year to elevate your grooming routine.
Are you ready to elevate your moving experience? Trusted for over 100 years, Ferguson Moving and Storage are your partners in relocation, ensuring your journey is smooth and stress-free. And say goodbye to surprises with Ferguson's transparent flat rate pricing. Contact them now for a free moving quote and use a promo code Ferguson to receive $100 off your next move. Visit FergusonMoving.com and let them lift your expectations. If you own or operate a business, you know the value of a great employee. Just ask Schauger. Pathfind is here to help you find your next star player to help take your business to the next level. Pathfind can help with recruitment, career transition, leadership coaching. They truly have your whole team covered. Building you a championship caliber roster. Find your team's path forward at pathfind.ca.
All right, let's get into takeaways brought to you by Redefined Health. If you're feeling unhappy with your overall level of health, you have to try their wellness lifestyle program. Really unique 90-day program, including daily meal plan, exercise regimen, video instruction and support, pre and post assessment to help you monitor your progress, all for $150 to help change the way you are functioning and feeling day to day. Visit redefinedhealth.com. All right, guys, the Corey Perry situation. Lots of chatter around Oiler Nation about if he would be a good fit, if he should be a good fit, and if the Edmonton Oilers should potentially be interested in him. The one thing that I want to say first here, because there's the hockey side and then there's, everything else that's going on around Corey Perry. But we have to have both conversations at the same time. So I think that it's incumbent on any organization that's going to look to bring in Corey Perry to do some pretty significant due diligence, get a sense of what happened with the situation in Chicago, talk to the Chicago Blackhawks about it, potentially offer to speak with anybody who might have been involved in that situation, get their feelings on it, just see what kind of reparations have been made. We don't know exactly what happened, so we don't want to over speculate. But I do think a big part of this is understanding something went down serious enough for his contract to be terminated. Getting to the bottom of that as much as you can and finding out if the proper steps have been taken with the aggrieved parties to move forward. And for, if Corey Perry has in fact taken those steps. I believe that's part of this. And that's where this could potentially start and end, quite frankly. And then the hockey conversation comes after that, Struds.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And that's the work that they have to do. They got to do the background work. And it's you want to just explore everything and get to know. You don't want surprises. Let's assume that he signs with them and they're in the second round of playoffs and something comes up. Like, that is not what you want. You want to know everything you can so there are no surprises, right? And feel comfortable with what has been done and what he's done to unravel that, to make it better. As far as on the ice, I remember a few years ago when he was leaving the Ducks, I think we were talking on the Gregor show. They said, do you think he can play? I said, no, I think he's lost his foot speed. Well, obviously I was right about that. Here we are. The guy's, he's played a lot lately and he's done well. So obviously I nailed it on that one. So maybe foot speed isn't what makes Corey Perry special, right? There's other parts of the game. I would like to see another player like Kane who drags his team into games where maybe they're a little sleepy and can get irritating results from the other team. So I like that about him. I don't know how much he'd play in the top six, but I like that element he brings. Another player you talked about, Schauger, was Pat Maroon, who also does that. You need to have a little bit of antagonism. I think if they do that, it draws the attention away from the big boys and it sucks it towards maybe your other type players. Brownie?
Well, to go to the first part that Schauger talked about, in all honesty, you should be doing that with every player you sign. You got to do a background check. That's every player. You don't want any surprises. Now, obviously, this one's much more obvious because, whatever he did was bad enough that he actually didn't even try to get the money. There was no appeal to get his contract. He's like, all right, I'll take my lumps. As for the player, I've been saying for about 5 years, Corey Perry is the exact player the Oilers need. The way he plays the game, he's everything that you want come playoff time. Now, the one issue that I think that they would have is, does Corey Perry want to play here? Because if he plays here, Corey Perry's, he doesn't penalty kill. There's no power play here for Corey Perry to be on. They've got one unit, Zach Hyman's on it. Evander Kane can't take Zach Hyman off the power play.
Yeah.
So does he want to come here and be a fourth line guy that plays 7-8 minutes a night because he's not getting power play or penalty killing time? So that's something that he would look into before he decides. Because I would think there would be a very big market for Corey Perry. He went to, was it 3 Stanley Cup finals in a row or 4 or something along that line? He's a guy that you want on your team come playoff time. And that's just on ice. I'm not talking off ice.
Yeah.
But there's going to be other teams lined up. I think Corey Perry's also going to be looking for something that a team that has a chance to win, but also where he can contribute. Nobody wants to come and sit on a bench and be a cheerleader.
So I think, I'm not sure there'll be quite the lineup that you're suggesting, Rob, with the information that currently exists and is currently out there. The script is yet to be written a little bit on the appeal process. I believe that's still potentially a possibility through the Players Association. We'll kind of see where that goes. And the point is made, he never had to go meet with Gary Bettman, right? It wasn't like there was this big league investigation, but I mean, quite frankly, why did there need to be? The team terminated his contract and that was it. So I think that teams would be wary. Struds made a great point there. You don't want surprises.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you need to know what the nature of what happened was.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know if the parties involved, if there were reparations made, if there are still aggrieved parties, how they might feel by, these steps being taken. Because what you don't want is, if there are still some parties as a result of whatever happened, that don't feel that the right steps were taken, then you end up potentially with issues if that person were ever decide to go public, or if, maybe there's other stuff. Teams don't like surprises. And so not enough sunlight has bleached this situation yet. And I think teams will be very, very wary. And I think that the Oilers should be too. So in light of that lack of information, I think teams will proceed cautiously. The other point I'll make here is I don't know that Corey Perry would choose in this situation to roll into a Canadian market.
City, yeah.
With all of the spotlight that comes with being in a Canadian city and the media frenzy and all of those things, I would think Corey Perry's play would potentially be likely going to be in and around that league minimum. If you can find someone that's going to do that deal and go to a place where it's a lot different than it is in here and in Toronto and in, other Canadian cities. That to my sense is that would be the most likely scenario. And whether the Oilers are actually interested or not, I'm sure they're curious. And I would be too, if I were them, to want to know the breadth of the whole situation. Struds, I'd be stunned if he came north of the border.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, he's done it before, right? Didn't he play in Montreal?
Yeah, but this is different.
This is different because now
the situation is different.
Yes.
I get it, but he has some experience in doing it. I think that for players that have never played in Canada, they have no issues. It can be a little intimidating to come here. And there's no doubt that wherever he goes, there'll always be the question marks lingering around. What was it? What happened? Whether it's media, fans, even teammates will wonder like, why, what happened there? Everything was going along fine. Then it just changed. So I hear what you're saying, Schauger, and I get it. But I think that the fact that he played in one of the bigger markets in Canada, at least he has some experience in what it could be like.
Well, that also might be one of the reasons he doesn't come, because he's had that experience and understands that you're under a spotlight. And all of a sudden you come to Edmonton. I mean, it's a little bigger spotlight than if you went to Tampa or if you went to Florida or something along that line where your hockey is page 9. And we got Corey Perry, and 3/4 of the market doesn't know who Corey Perry is. So it would be easier to go into an American city when you've got whatever's hanging over his head.
Okay, let's move on from that, guys, and we'll see what develops on that front in the coming weeks. Leon Draisaitl sat down with Mark Spector while they were on the road, and Spec fired a bunch of questions at him about the potential of the upcoming contract and the negotiation. There were some clips in there that definitely caught the attention of Oiler Nation. I'm going to read a couple of the ones that were fairly poignant to me. Let's just go through it here. It's important to go through it and have the context. I know the situation can come July 1, but there's another side to it as well. The Oilers have a say in this as well, come July 1st at least. After that, it's up to me. At the end of the day, he's going to do what's best for him, talking about Connor, and I'm going to do the same thing for me. We've had a lot of success together, and we would like to have more success as a team, of course. I'm sure at some point there's going to be some conversations, but at the end of the day, he's going to do what's best for him, and I'm going to do what's best for me. Twice. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of thought, a lot of conversation that goes into it, the upcoming contract. With family, agents, of course. Right now, I think everyone wants me to focus on playing. Now, this one is interesting. Of course, I want to finish the job. That's why I pour my heart, my emotions, my body language sometimes, which I thought was funny, by the way, into it every day. That's the way I'm wired. I care a lot. Of course, I want to finish the job, and I want to finish it here. But there are lots of things that go into it. Lots of things that play a role in these situations. At the end of the day, I'm going to give you the boring answer again. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
That the bulk of Leon Draisaitl's comments about his contract. Struds, what do you think?
What do people want him to say? Right? What do we fans wanting? That he's going to just say, "I'll take anything. I'll just come back right away," or Connor and I are, we're going to ride or die, whatever that saying is. Like I think he played it pretty well. I don't think he really said much. I would agree that it's two massive contracts, and they have to do what's best for themselves. Do I think there'll be some contact between the two of them? 100%. I do think there'll be some talking, but I don't really think anything of it. Because so much can happen in 18 months. They could win 2 Stanley Cups and then they leave for sure. They can win no Stanley Cups, they can leave for sure. Like we're so far away that I just have a hard time getting worked up about comments from a small hotel in Detroit in middle of June or middle of January, Brownie.
Well, to me, it was a story about a non-story, in all honesty. I mean, it's not like, hey, you have to sign by the end of next week. It's July 1st. It's
the first time that he has meaningfully discussed a contract that is of monumental importance to the organization.
100%.
So there's news value there.
But again, it's like saying I'm going to Mexico in September. What's the weather like? I don't know. I guess when we get closer, then we'll take a look at it. I mean, this is July 1st we're worried about.
I don't know, fellas.
To me, I think it's a non-story. I really do. I mean, I think as we get closer, because what happens between now and July 1st will have a big play in what happens when it comes contract time. If the Oilers go into the first round and lose out to somebody and Leon has struggles or Leon's just okay in the first round, do the Oilers want to give him $100 million or whatever it is that they're going to have to give him? So to me, I thought he handled, as Strud said, I thought he handled it perfect. I thought the questions they said, well, are you, is this something that you and Connor will talk about? Well, he will do what he has to, and I'll do what I have to do. And that's exactly what you're going to do. I mean, it's not going to say, okay, we're going to sign together. We're going to get it with, here's the pie, and we're going to decide how we're going to cut up the pie. And he gets this part and I get that part. Again, I honest to God think it's a non-story that will become a huge story when we get to the end of the season, when decisions have to be made.
Okay, I'm going to make one point here, and then you guys will chase me off the air, and that's fine. Shane Matheson, by the way, chiming in saying, where was that? I'm going with ex-players over press on this one. Sorry, Shogger. Fair enough, Shane Matheson. I'm going to make a point here, though, guys. And I'm not going to make this out to be more than it needs to be, Struddy. You know which category I'm going to put it in, Struds?
Notable.
It's in the notable category. Think about William Nylander when he was asked about this. Think about John Tavares when he was asked about it. Think about Steven Stamkos when he was asked about it in this same time frame, months before they could even negotiate. You know what we heard from them?
Nope.
I love it here. I want to be here. Didn't hurt their negotiations at all. William Nylander didn't hurt himself at all by making it clear. Said it would be his dream to sign long-term here. Now, Leon Draisaitl is a different personality. Maybe he thinks about negotiation in a different way. Maybe there are things he would just never say in this situation because of that. And that just might very well be the case. But notable in his absence was the word like, love, anything to do with how he feels about his time here. And I guarantee you that there would have been a tee up for that.
Was he asked?
And it wasn't there.
Was he asked? He was asked, do you love it in Edmonton?
There was opportunity for him to have.
There was opportunity, or was he asked, do you love it in Edmonton?
It's not in the article, Brownie. If he said it, it would have been in the article, right?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like maybe Nylander's, hey, do you love it here? I do love it here. I mean, that'd be like Struds. Hey, Struds, you love Edmonton?
I do. I love it here.
See, there you go. Because I asked him.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Schauger. How can a guy comment on something this big when he doesn't even know who he's negotiating with?
What do you mean?
Who's the GM going to be in July 1st? Do you know?
Oh, that's a good one, Jason Strudwick. You're on your game tonight, Struds. I take everything I was thinking in my head back.
I've been bringing it all night.
How is it going to hurt Leon Draisaitl? How is it going to hurt Leon Draisaitl to go, you know what? I've loved my time here in Edmonton. It's been great. You know, I've really enjoyed it here. I would love to continue playing for the team, but you never know what'll happen, and I got to do what's right for me or my family. The players say these things all the time in this exact situation. That is notable to me.
Okay, I'll concede that point. He didn't say that, but I just, you know, you're asking me to say, well, or he wanted to say something, commit when he doesn't even know who the GM is.
No, don't want him to commit.
I don't understand how, you know, asking him at a time where you don't even know who you'll be negotiating with on July 1st. I don't think that makes, what kind of answer do you want me to give? I just don't understand what he would want to be said there. Well, you know what? There's lots of things to work out. Ken Holland's contract's going to be up then. We'll see how things go in the time. What will our team look like? Like, all these things are decisions you have to make that move forward. I'm sorry. To me, it's not a big deal at all. I'm glad it's out because now the first one is done and well done by Spector. But John Tavares, did he say that before he left Long Island?
I interviewed John Tavares at the All-Star game the year before he was ready to negotiate. And yeah, man, guys say all the time. Stamkos,
he said that
Tavares,
in Long Island?
Nylander.
Did Tavares say it in Long Island that he loved Long Island?
I'm pretty positive. I mean,
okay,
I don't want to say
1,000%. But then he didn't stay in Long Island.
I know, but that's the thing, guys. And I'm not saying it means he's not going to stay. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to argue this point so forcefully that I make it a bigger deal than it actually is. To me, it was notable. There was nothing there about how he feels about his time at Edmonton, liking it, loving it, anything like that. Leon Draisaitl's all business, though. We know that about him, and I believe that's probably why. Tactical, you're not going to give that away. You're not going to say too much. I think you guys are right, but there's a small piece of me. I've done those interviews before. I've talked to players in that situation before. It was notable what wasn't there. You guys can agree to disagree. Lots of people on the stream are. Davin says, how do I mute the guy on the left? So maybe that right there. You can't, Davin. It's my podcast. I get to talk all I want. Anyways, that was takeaways. Great discussion, guys. Thank you. Brought to you by Redefined Health. When we come back, Brownie, you've been waiting all day for it, all week for it.
I drove as fast as I could in cold weather to make sure that I could get in here. Got a good seat. I got my tonic water here.
Oh,
and I am pretty pumped about, what is it called again? Strud's Earth? What did you call it again?
Strud's World.
Strud's World. Okay.
Don't pretend you don't know.
Other side of the break. Struddy's World coming up.
Time to talk about your mortgage? It doesn't have to be a daunting conversation. With over 16 years in the industry, Maria Gallus with Maximum Mortgages knows how to make it easy. With access to dozens of different lenders, let Maria customize the perfect solution for you. Whether you're purchasing, refinancing, or renewing, or a first-time buyer, Maria's simplistic approach and expert advice will have you feeling confident you're in great hands, making informed decisions. Take the stress out of your mortgage journey. Contact Maria Gallus at mortgagesbymaria.ca. That's mortgagesbymaria.ca.
The Edmonton Sport and Social Club's spring season is set to go in May, and registration is just around the corner. Team up with your pals to play in slow pitch, beach volleyball, outdoor soccer, ultimate frisbee, and even cornhole leagues to keep the spring months full of excitement. Spring leagues begin in May. Registration opens on February 8th. Visit edmontonsportsclub.com for more details.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good. Headline here on the web from our competitor at TSN over at Sportsnet, looking for the date on this. Big picture of John Tavares on pending free agency. Quote, I want to stay on Long Island.
Apparently not that badly.
January 2016, 2018. Guys have said it before, is all I'm
I don't
saying.
think that reinforces your point, Shogger.
Probably should have found a Stamkos quote, hey? That would have been better. I'm taking a beating too on the Weiss Johnson YouTube stream. People think I just got absolutely taken to the woodshed in that segment. And maybe I did. Time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. They got locations in Calgary and Edmonton. If you're a contracting business or a contractor, let DLR help you add vinyl fence to your product line. See why they have been going strong since 2005. Reliable, unmatched service with high-quality North American-made products. Visit dlrvinylproducts.ca. Should I play the clip with my brother one more time? He texted me today. He's like, you talk so much. Thanks for giving me a chance. And it goes all the way back to when we were kids.
Andre the Giant and Hercules Hernandez. Well, folks, that's the news at the sports and the weather for today. Till then, see you tomorrow. Until then, I'm Ryan Rishaug
And Robbie Rishaug.
signing off.
Struds, do you feel his pain a little bit? Do you feel like that too?
Were you trying to do that in a Mickey Mouse voice?
He had helium first.
Child. I was a child.
I was like, I thought it was Mickey, man, but Minnie Mouse. I couldn't hear it quite. I gotta lean in a little more.
All right. Do Struddy's World.
Up until 3 days ago, I'd never used a shovel with a metal grill on it. And I'll tell you what, guys, it changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. There's only two other times I can think about it. One is when I had kids, and the time before that is when I used my wife's legs razor on my face. I haven't stopped using it since. I think the proof is in the pudding. But when you look and use that metal one, I've used a metal one that was like a batting ram, thick. It wasn't very agile. I've now got the Cadillac or Ferrari, I should say, of shovels. It hugs the ground so tightly, it doesn't leave any snow behind it. It's like the snow never happened. It is a changing point for me. I've always used a thick, heavy metal one or a plastic one. Now, the only issue with this metal one, guys, is it's shorter. So old Uncle Struddy's got to bend down a little deeper, use a little bit more knees. It's a little bit harder. I used to have a plastic one that's a little bit longer. It's a lot easier. But I'm wondering if anybody else has had this tight, very low profile metal one that just cleans off the cement like nobody's business. It is truly a work of art watching me out there shovel driveways.
Watching Uncle Struddy.
Yeah, but I'm bent over. I got to bend over a little more. I look like a little crotchety old guy.
You wearing your tight jeans when you're bending over with your Uncle Struddy shovel?
I do, but I wear a 3/4 length coat. I don't want the neighbors to be eyeballing me. My eyes are up here.
Jeez, that's amazing. What about the big, long, wide ones that allow you to do like half your driveway with one or two passes, Struddy? Where are you at on those great big shovels?
Well, I know the ones. Now, some of my friends have the one where they just take a piece of plywood and then they put like a 2x4 and they push it around. And I get it. I find it leaves a little bit too much snow behind for my liking. But no, I do know what you mean. But I've never used a shovel that cleans off the snow this well. It is crazy how much the snow comes out. Brownie, do you guys get snow in St. Albert or no?
No, because our taxpayers' money, they keep snow onto the Edmonton areas and the outskirts. We don't have to. Yeah, we do. I know that one that Shogger's talking about. Those big shovels that you push, I can't lift them when I get the snow on them. Right. So it's like the snow just gets pushed, and eventually my driveway gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I don't know. Okay, now, Struddy, your kids are 12 now? Your boys?
Yeah, 12. Yeah, 12.
Okay, so I've got my son's 22. He moved out when he was 19. He moved to Vancouver. Between him and my wife, I think they've combined to shovel once in the 20 years that we lived in Edmonton. Like, do your kid shovel? Because I'm like, hey, Ben, why don't you go and shovel? Oh, Dad, my back's sore. Oh, no, don't worry about it, buddy. I got this one. And I'm out there with my stupid shovel. Having said that, I have the nicest neighbor in the world. He's a little bit older than me. I'll get up in the morning, 7 a.m. He's already been out there, snow blowed my driveway, done my sidewalks. So, Kevin, if you're watching tonight, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It saves me being out in minus 33-degree weather.
That's been some tough shoveling the last few days out in that cold. So
Yeah.
kudos to you, Struddy. I'm not going to lie to you. I missed most of that segment because I was doing some research, guys.
Oh boy.
It wasn't. You didn't miss much. Honestly, Shogger, you missed nothing.
Yeah.
This is the best quote I could find. This is the best I could
here we
do.
go.
Steven Stamkos, 2015. Like I've always said, I envision myself winning a championship here and want to do that. Draisaitl kind of said the same thing today. Obviously, we got close last year. I'm the captain of this team. I want to be that leader.
See, Leon can't say that because he's not the captain, so he can't say that.
That's true. Yeah,
Better
that's a
keep
fair
looking.
point. Yeah. I'm going to take the L on this one. Big L on this one. Zuby, did you get the hats together? Did you get that shot together?
Oh, yeah, I got the hats.
So we've been asked a lot about hats on the stream. I've been wearing a couple of the original models from Kin Print, but we dug in with them. We decided we wanted to.
Winter is upon us, so why not make the best of it? Marmot Basin Ski Resort is where it's at. Ski half price every day, no blackout period.
Struddy's World is back. And then let's get our hats in here. There they are.
At least you sound a lot better, Zuby.
A little better, yeah, marginally.
So we got a couple of different options. Brownie, Struddy, discuss. Guys, what do you like?
Well, I like C. Those are the ones I like. Those, my brother and my son, who told me today, they both texted me, said, if you're on the show tonight, they both voted for A. I liked C. Although I like the ones that said, what is it called? What are we called again? Got your back. I like the GYBs. Those are mine. I like
you
the ones
need
that
to
have
learn the
letters.
name of this podcast, buddy. I don't care if you don't know what Struddy segment is called. You need to know the name of this damn podcast.
But because when you guys turned my thing around so that it would be like, so you can read it, it turned the thing also. So now I'm BYG or something like that because it looks backwards to me too. So I have no idea what we are.
Struddy, what
But
do
I
you
really
got here?
enjoy being here. So thanks for having me.
Now,
Struddy, you're not allowed to say golf visor. Give
No,
us
it's
your
fine.
analysis.
I've given up. Obviously, not everyone has the class as I do. But, we have a side text, everybody, and Shogger put a bunch, probably twice as many hats as this. And, hey, which ones do you guys like? And Brown and I both said, too, that we liked. They're not
And
the final
they're not
option.
on there.
So why ask us, Shogger? Like, why bother? Like, now I'm not going to answer anymore. Because
Which ones did you like?
to take a lap, I want to call it this. No, I don't think so. Okay, good. Which hat do you like? No, well, I like this one. No, I don't think so. I'm out. I'm no longer going to respond.
It is true.
I'm a whipped dog.
I was shocked when you sent out the finals. I'm like, okay, wait a sec. Struddy and I, they weren't even close to the ones that Struddy and I picked.
I'm looking for it. Which one did you like? Do you guys remember?
Mine had GYB on it.
The GYB.
Oh,
we
okay,
both
you
said
guys-
GYB. It was number C, and now I don't see it in the final. So I'm not answering anymore. I'm out. I'm interested, but I'm not like ready
that
to
one?
die on this hill.
Hang on, let me see here. This probably isn't going to work. That one?
Yeah.
Love
The
it.
GYB
Oh, look at
in the
that.
bottom
Yeah,
corner?
GYB, yeah. That's what we
Beautiful.
like, the GYB. You know when we
That's
wrote back GYB,
Yeah.
and then you said, we don't care? That's
Did
what we
you
like,
look
the
at our
GYBs.
All right. I like the fifth. The fist bump is our core logo. Although it was pointed out to me, if it's in the middle of the hat, it'll look like Adidas and we might get sued. So I suppose we should think about that one a little bit too. Got your back swag coming your way probably in the next 3 weeks or so. We're continuing to work on it with Kin Print. I'm really picky, so we need to decide. Brownie, that'll wrap you tonight, buddy. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. And I figured out how to get out of here now. So
Yeah, let's see it.
you guys can't see me.
Did you just
Not
turn the
dark
light
enough.
off?
It's not dark enough.
No.
What?
Pull your tooth
Can't
down
see
over
me.
your face.
I'm gone.
All right. See you, Brownie. Great job tonight, pal. We'll talk to you sometime soon.
We'll talk
we're
to you
gonna-
after the 10th win.
Okay.
Bro.
Sounds good, buddy. We're going to take a lap when we come back.
I roll commercials now?
Oh, do you not have any ready? Did you?
No, I'm just
accidentally
kidding.
roll them off?
I already did it once, so I was just messing around. Here we go.
Yes.
Winter is upon us, so why not make the best of it? Marmot Basin Ski Resort is where it's at. Ski half price every day, no blackout periods. Pick up your escape card for $99 and make winter fun more affordable. Half the price, all the powder. Get yours at www.skimarmot.com.
Longshots Golf is the destination for both golf enthusiasts and sports fans. Top-of-the-line TrackMan simulators provide a highly entertaining and accurate golf experience, while a full-service sports bar loaded with big screens and scratch kitchen make it a truly unique destination. They have locations in Sherwood Park in Edmonton. Experience the best indoor golf and sports bar in town. Visit longshots.ca. That's longshots with a Z.ca. All right, time to take a lap, brought to you by Backscape, the product that is taking the online world by storm right now. It's everywhere. Get rid of that unwanted back hair by yourself with Backscape, the water-resistant rechargeable shaver, coupled with the long handle. Lets you take care of business on your own, shave in any direction. No bumps or cuts. It's easy and it's awesome. They got a great deal on right now. 40% off. That's bakscape.com, and choose from a variety of packages delivered right to your door. Going on a couples getaway this weekend, Struds, with two other couples. Going to head to Jasper, relax a little bit, and hot tub in the hotel. So that means the Backscape probably needs a little bit of a workout before I go. You can't crawl into the hot tub on a couples retreat like a grizzly bear. I think you got to tighten up the back anyways.
Got to make it happen. All right, let's take a look what's going on in the league tonight. The Pittsburgh Penguins lose to the Vancouver Canucks tonight, and Brock Besser scored 2 goals, 27 goals on the season so far in 42 games. His career high was 29 in 62 games. I believe that was his first year. So there was talk about them trying to move him out. Now I'm betting they're probably thinking a little bit different. He is on pace for well past an incredible career season. I think you got to give a lot of credit to Rick Tocchet. I know there was some talk about Tocchet, what he's meant to Brad Besser and how to help his game along. But I mean, Vancouver is on fire, one of the hottest teams in the league all year. And a big contributing member of that is Brock Besser, scoring 26 and 27 tonight on the road.
Yeah. The coach. Every time there's a coaching change, there's the possibilities seem kind of wide open, right? Guys that he might unlock, guys that he might accidentally lock up. You just never know who is going to react how to a coach. I don't know, Struds, like you've played at the highest level. You've had different coaches. Have you seen situations where for whatever reason, a guy that everybody knew was a hell of a player just didn't have it, and where a coaching change seem to unlock a guy the way this one seems to have unlocked Besser?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in the room, obviously, but I feel like maybe there's a little bit of I feel like Besser's the kind of guy that needs to be pushed a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hugged and then pushed at the same time and get him going. He looks like a quicker player to me this year, moving his feet a little bit better, getting to those scoring positions a little bit better, because he always had the shot. It felt like the last couple of years, though, he was always a little bit behind where he needs to be to get that shot off, or even to get into place to get a shot. Now it feels like he's there. So I wonder what Tocchet talked to him about his conditioning or the way he approached the offseason, because it's been from day one, he's been a more dangerous player, shift in, shift out, than I think we've seen through the entirety of his career.
Can't talk about that Canucks game tonight without a tip of the cap to Elias Pettersson. Like 4 points, his overtime winner. I mean, the guy is just having a whale of a year. And for a guy who came into the league so slight, there's a weird power to his game for how slight he seems, Struds.
I think he has my favorite release in the league, at least from a one-timer. His one-timer is incredible. And I know that we're sitting in the city with Leon Draisaitl, but I think Pettersson is incredible, his release. And yeah, he's definitely, seems to be getting a little bit stronger on the ice, but he's taken another step forward this year, right? And he's also another reason. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that team, the way they step up. Quinn Hughes, having a healthy goaltender, some maybe surprises on the back end, and they're at times have done it without Carson Soucy, a big offseason signing for them, but they are all playing well and believe in each other. And I've been on teams that started well, and it just feels so good. You're like, we are a good team. We are good players. Like, let's get going. Sometimes when you start badly, it's hard to turn that over. But right from the first 2 nights of the year, Vancouver has not looked back, and it'd be hard to see someone catching them for first place in the Pacific Division, maybe in the top few in the league.
Okay, what's next, pal?
Well, the Anaheim Ducks made the big trade, moving out Draisaitl in the second round pick to get Cutter Gauthier. And there was rumors going around from the insiders that we all know and love that maybe Zegras isn't on the market, but they're just listening and seeing what's out there. Well, injured himself Tuesday night, broken foot, broken ankle, whatever it is. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. Will get surgery in the near future. He'll be out for 6 to 8 weeks. So the timing is really notable to steal your line with him. I don't see this trade being in season. I think this is an off season type trade with a guy with 2 years left, around $6 million. But just the whole timing, his best friend gets traded, bang, a couple days later, boom, broken foot. He's out for, let's call it 2 months. And by the time he gets back, you're January, February, you're into March, you're looking at what, Chugger? 4 weeks left in the season.
Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks. So not a lot left there. So I'd be surprised if he were to get traded with this injury now. And I always felt his off season, but it's always funny how timing kind of works out, right? For a situation like this.
Young, skilled, tons of personality, great sense of humor, marketable, not afraid to laugh at himself. Like, this guy has a lot to offer on and off the ice in his presence. His game needs to mature for sure, no question. Do you remember when he wasn't at camp right away, and when he got there, his first day of practice, and I think we talked about it, how coach had him doing drills with no stick, like just skating around in the dot, like practicing coverage with no stick. And like the message it was sent before he stepped on the ice. You got the head coach talking about how all the things that need to change in his game and stuff. I had a weird feeling like this might be a rough go from the beginning. And I think I said it back at the time too. Like, it just felt weird for the coach to be that vocal about it.
Setting the tone, he does. I don't believe a coach would do that without talking to people above him.
Sure.
Talking to those around him.
Cronin's a pretty straight shooter too, right?
Yeah. And advisors around him, advisors around the team, there's some advisors there. So I think they're trying to make it a harder style game they want to play. Not, you look at the guys they brought in, like Killorn is a guy that plays a more direct north-south harder game. And that doesn't mean there's not a place for skill, because you can have both. You can have both skill and a harder game within your game. But right now, I think Zegras is just out there having a good time, and that's great. It's fun to see it. It's fun for the league. But if you're trying to build a winner, are you going to build around him, this guy, to be your leader? And I have a hard time thinking that Pat Verbeek, knowing how hard of a player he was, would really buy into what could be his next. Well, he's not having a very good year this year, actually, but $6 million for that's a pretty tough sell.
Going to get to the Weiss Johnson YouTube stream. Cold is here big time. Time to get that garage heater installed. Enjoying the luxury of a warm vehicle or heated man cave this winter. It'll also help you if you have rooms over the garage that are always a little too cool. Visit WeissJohnson.com.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Yeah, Zegras is still young, says Reaper. Called him a young punk, but I don't know that that's fair. Boba Fett says build around Mason McTavish. That's another really good young player. Cutter Gauthier is going to be interesting with that group too. Gives them some real dynamic young talent. I don't even know where Zegras should go. Somewhere that doesn't care about winning would be a start, says Max85, suggesting that maybe there is quite a distance to go in his game. I like him. I like the style. I like the attitude. I'm good with Trevor Zegras, and I think his game will round out when he gets into a situation where his team is in a window to win. There's a different level of motivation where you tap into a guy's competitiveness. They know they're not necessarily near that in this moment. All right, that was Take a Lap, brought to you by Backscape. I forgot we did things out of order tonight. Let's wrap up the podcast. It's been a long one. Let's do some Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Match Eatery and Public House. If you need a spot to hang out before the big game or concert, it's as close to the action as you can get. Located within the Grand Villa Casino, a lively sports bar is the perfect place to gather. Enjoy perfected pub bites, a selection of ice-cold beer, and classic cocktails. For more information, visit matchpub.com. Zuby, pop on in here, my friend. We're really long tonight, but we had a little bit extra off the top, and rightfully so. So let's do solid 5 minutes here. Ask us anything, Zuby. You can fire away.
Sure. Matt Pepper, a new contributor on the stream, but I thought with a good point. He says, with the effort Pickard has put forward, when can we stop calling him the third string and start calling him the backup?
Ooh, hell of a point, Struds. That's fair.
Well, the stats would suggest he is the backup. So,
But Brownie referred to him as the third stringer in the organization, right?
He did. And I think that was that was the intention. But it's hard because he has that label and he hasn't played a lot in the NHL. This wasn't a guy that was a backup on another team. Then all he could get was a third string job. He had the third string job and has had it. I got to believe we're getting close. Doesn't mean I don't think the Oilers are going to acquire another goalie.
Yeah.
I still think they'll find another one, but I do think he's getting close to losing that handle.
Zuby, who's the third string goalie in the Oilers organization? Go, quick, go.
Rodrigue.
Yeah, right answer.
So it makes Campbell 4?
It does.
Yeah, that's a mess.
Uriah Spade is your fourth stringer, opening the gate for the Rook down in Bakersfield. Bobo Fett said, Zach, Alex Ovechkin Hyman with the high slot ripper, not his usual blue paint special, scoring from everywhere. Well, what did you think of his? Watching that play, just maybe a comment on like his awareness of like, he just went to that spot and the puck came to him and he finished it.
Well, Ekholm drove the blue paint. He drove right in front of the blue line, all the way to the blue paint. So he didn't really need to have a second player in there. So Hyman just kind of found some quiet ice and the puck scored it out to him and he buries it. And that's a smart player, understanding that, sometimes the crease can get crowded with multiple players there. He found there's too many there. He backed out, found the quiet ice, bang, goal.
Interesting ones will be on the stream. Some John Tortorella talk there. They were wanting you to ask us about him calling out the reporter. Struds, I'll lay this one in your lap. What do you think of him calling out the reporter who wrote the article that was filled with some speculative stuff that caused some problems for Hayes?
Right. Yeah. He kind of, I went through it and kind of figured it all out. And he's protecting his ex-player, which a player he didn't really like because the player got traded. Mm-hmm. So it just, the whole Philadelphia thing, I get that they're maybe upset, embarrassed, and mad that Cutter Gauthier chose not to come to their team. But they're the Philadelphia Flyers. This isn't Buffalo. This isn't, some of these other teams where you don't want to come. It's the Philadelphia Flyers. I think that they're overreacting. I think it's time to say, listen, he chose a different path. We wish him luck. We're very excited with what we have here. We're continuing to grow and just move on. I think it's just at the point now it's too long.
Yeah. And I have no issue with a coach, a player, whoever calling out a reporter if you don't like an article. Like, you got to stand in there and you got to back up your stuff. And if you do something that pisses somebody off and when the mic is on and the red light is on, they choose to come at you, that's part of the game, man. You got to be ready in that situation. So I have no issue with what Torts did at all. I do take issue with how poorly he treats people when the camera goes on, talks to people in a way that you just don't talk to people like that. I think it's goofy and I don't understand it. So I take issue with that side of Torts. No issue with him going after a reporter for a report that he didn't like.
The Oilers have had some good third periods here. Shane Matheson with a really good point saying they are also all rested in the third period from spreading out minutes. How much do you think that plays into the good thirds we've seen from the Oilers in the last little while?
Yeah, I like that. But I'm going to go back to what Matthias Ekholm said when he arrived here. He goes, we have to feel comfortable with a tie game or a lead going into the third period, a small lead. And they've done it. And I was kind of kidding around and hard on Schauger and Brownie to start the pod. But, I think that we have to recognize when they've done something that we've asked them to do or we've wanted to see the team do. And they've done it now. They're low-scoring games. They look comfortable in them. They're not panicking. They're not forcing things that aren't there. We saw those things previous incarnations of this team. We haven't seen it this year. Now, I want to believe that if it's 17 out of 20 games, it might be who they are, which I think would be a great step in the right direction for this group.
J-Dub said Nurse's shot was awesome. Wasn't an open net. Goalie was square to him. He didn't have a stick, but I mean, that was a crazy shot. A nice offensive play by Nurse and caught him, I think, still thinking another pass was coming. hats off to Darnell tonight.
Yeah, well said.
Yep. He's been playing good, continues to play good. Hyman, the driver on that play, and he buried it top shelf. Somebody on the stream asked if I've ever had somebody pull me aside for a report that they did not like. That was Gomez asking that. Yeah, definitely. And those conversations generally stay private. I did have Taylor Hall come up to me one time in the locker room. I tweeted a stat. It was an analytic in game. And he came right up to me in the locker room the next day and he was like, I saw that stat you tweeted in game. You're using Corsi in game. I think it was like how many shots a certain player was on the ice for against in a 20-minute period, like in the period. And he's like, that's a pretty, that's more of like a game stat, isn't it? Than a period by period stat. Like, why are you tweeting something like that? So he came right at me because he didn't like the analytic I used. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, and we talked about it for a couple of minutes and sort of agreed to disagree. And he sort of smiled and left. So like, I like when guys do that, man. I think you have to be accountable for what you say in there. Mac T, a few times wasn't thrilled in the playoffs with the McDavid thing. Definitely there were some conversations had there as well. You're responsible for what you report and you got to be willing to take questions. Zuby, one more and then we'll get going.
Okay, I got a couple. Let's just finish it. I wanted to get to a couple chirps that we had on tonight for each of us, sort of. On Brownie, McDavid said, Brownie still batting 0 for on Struddy's World, real segments. Robert Herbish asked, who turns Brownie's camera on for him at the start?
Good point.
I thought that was pretty funny. Shogger, when you were doing the hats and the guys were saying you didn't listen to their feedback, Reaper said he rejects your hats. And then McDavid's Holy Sock said Kim Jong Rishaug running the pod. And that might be out of line, but that made me laugh. And then if you want to say anything about that.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Listen, I make no apologies. Someone needs to be in charge of this absolute freaking zoo and keep the animals in their cages. And I'm happy to do that for our listeners.
Okay, two more. 99 said, even in minus 40, the ladies are out rubbernecking Struddy, shoveling in his tight jeans. And Jester, he said, Zoobs, listen to the end of last podcast this afternoon. For the love of God, don't let Shoggy change the intro song, please. It works so well. That was more. There's more love for the song than people who think it's divisive for sure. But there's more love for the song than not, I would say.
Appreciate the feedback. All right, time now for our gem of the day. Struddy, what do you got, buddy? We had lots going on today. What are you going to tap for our gem of the day today?
There's lots of things to talk about, but I think I'm going to go with Jason Gregor joining us and just talking about his memories of John Short, obviously. But Robin Brownlee, I think we all shared some. He didn't always look the way he actually was, and a kind-hearted guy. And I always I think that was a really good way to start honoring those two guys and what they meant to the sporting community here in Edmonton.
Completely agree. Highly encourage you to go read Jason's article on OilersNation.com on that he wrote on Robin Brownlee today. And if you get a chance, download their pods from this afternoon because Gregor did a really nice job paying tribute to both of those fine gentlemen. Struds, great job tonight. Thanks, my friend.
Yeah, likewise. Great job. And great job honoring those two guys.
Yeah, much appreciated. Zuby, thank you for everything. I know there was some extra production work today, and you did a great job. Thank you kindly. Thanks for all of you that joined us here on the stream tonight. We really appreciate it. We had great numbers, tons of amazing interaction. Can't wait to serve up some hats for people, too. That's going to be a lot of fun. That'll wrap up the podcast. Big thanks to our great friends over at Sherwood Buick GMC. And once again, our thoughts and our condolences are with the family of John Short and Robin Brownlee, two guys that definitely made their mark on us here on the podcast, on the sports and media fans here in Edmonton, on the sports community as well. And we wish their families our deepest condolences. Much love in the weeks ahead. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll talk soon.